Welcome to another episode of 100 Ways to Make 100K. I'm very excited to introduce our next guest, the founder of Juggernaut Financial, the #1 company in Canada under Chubb Insurance, selling combined insurance for individuals and families, Mr. Perry Wong. Perry, thanks so much for being here.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I mean, ever since I met you, you've been like this character that has been etched into my mind that I could never forget. And I'm so excited for the world to meet you for the first time, or maybe the second time or third time, whatever. But I'm excited to introduce your story and share it with the next generation. So maybe we could go back to where it all started. You know, who's Perry? And maybe you could share some of the important chapters that led you to where we are today.
Yeah, well, I was born in Canada, born in Montreal, so I'm French Canadian. So I always like to confuse people and say that I'm actually French Canadian. My parents are from Hong Kong. They were immigrants, like a lot of Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
They came to Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winterpeg. And but I was born in Montreal, so from one cold city to another. But I was born in Montreal, grew up in Calgary, moved out to Calgary when I was 7 years old, lived out there for 16, 17 years, did all my schooling there. I got my CA designation out there. And then as soon as I got my CA designation, I moved to Toronto. So I've been in Toronto now, but over 30 years now.
Okay.
Been in Toronto now, you know. So.
And but now, so you went from being a CA to selling insurance. So why did you even choose to be an accountant to begin with?
Yeah, look, typical Chinese parents. We always wanted top education, right? Got to get educated. At first, I wanted to be a doctor, or at least my parents wanted me to be a doctor. That didn't work out too well, you know. A B student in first year of university is not going to make it to med school. So, you know, after 1 year of university getting a B average, I figured, you know what, I better move on to something else. I got into business. Yeah. I've always liked money and sales and all that. But, you know, typically, like I said, Chinese parents, you're going to be that doctor, right? So I said, okay, that didn't work out. So I went to business school and figured, okay, well, what's the best thing? I always want to strive to be the best. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, get into accounting and go and become a CA, because a chartered accountant gives you it's good education, good designation, good recognition, and it was top.
Now you don't strike me as much of an accountant, right? Because your typical accountant, you said, yeah, accounting and sales, usually they don't mix.
Absolutely. I hate accounting. And I knew that going into accounting that I did not like accounting. I'm a horrible accountant.
But you still did it for 30 years.
No, I never did accounting. I did my designation. Okay. And as soon as I got my marks and passed, and I articled in the CA firm for 2 years. Yeah. Worked like a dog. That was my last job. So my last paycheck was 30 years ago. Wow. It was a horrible paycheck. Okay. And I always knew I would not work in a company. I always wanted to be my own boss, run my own thing. So as soon as I got my designation, the job suited what I had to do, because you had to article for a couple of years to be a CA. Yeah. I did that. I quit the day I got my mark. The day I got my mark, December 10th, I just quit.
And what did your parents think of that? Because they wanted you to be this typical success.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's probably so much pressure from them, but what was that?
That's a great question. My mom wanted me to get a JOB job, you know, and work in the firm.
Safe job.
Yeah, of course. The job security. Exactly. Right. And that was not in it for me. So actually I moved from Calgary. Not only did I quit my job, I packed up and left. It was on December. I quit. January, I was in Toronto.
Oh, wow.
So literally 3 weeks later, I'm in Toronto. Never been here before. Okay. Never been to Ontario.
Dude, was that not scary? You're moving literally across the country. You just pack up your bags. You're like, you know what? I'm done this accounting thing. You have this whole life kind of like what seems to be planned out. And then you're like, screw it, I'm moving to Toronto.
Because I knew Toronto's the financial capital of Canada. This is where the money is. This is where the business is. Okay. And I just knew I had to get out of Calgary. Calgary's slow. Yeah. You know, Calgary's up and down, oil boom and bust stuff. I mean, my dad was in the oil industry and, you know, and all that stuff. So I knew Calgary was in it. I had to get out of there. I had to run my own business in Toronto and just get out of there.
What do you think gave you that kind of insight about needing to run your own business? I guess it must have been the accounting. You followed the numbers, right?
Well, that too, but really insight wasn't that. It was really my father. My dad was working hard, you know, doing everything for the family, working like really 5, 6, 7 days a week in an oil company. He had his JOB, but he provided for the family, right? But in Calgary, it was like boom and bust. You could be laid off, fired in a second. It doesn't matter if you do a great job or bad job. They just lay off people like crazy. Yeah. So I grew up watching my father go through the hell of working for someone else. Wow. And knowing that, you know, he was basically a paycheck away from having his house foreclosed on. Wow. Because if you don't make a mortgage payment, you're done. You lose your house. And I grew up in a house where my dad worked his ass off, but he was a layoff away from losing a house. And, you know, I knew that was not for me. I could not have someone tell me what I'm worth, and I
Mhm.
cannot have someone just destroy my life in an instant.
Literally.
And it's not my fault. I mean, if my dad gets laid off, it's not his fault. It's
No.
because the oil prices went down and they had to lay off some people, and he's a number and he's out. And fortunately, he was never laid off. Fortunately, my dad never got laid off, and he kept the job, and we never lost the house. But I saw the stress in his eyes, and I knew that wasn't it for me. So I knew from a very young age I would not be working for someone.
Yeah, it's crazy because sometimes you could hear the subtle fear in the undertones of the conversation, right? In the things that you do and the things that you guys consume and the places that you guys spend your time. You could hear it. It's almost like an assumption that people don't even realize. Now, what was was this business, Juggernaut Financial, the first business that you were in, or?
No, I've done a few things.
Yeah.
I've always felt that I had to be my own boss, but I always liked sales.
Okay.
Because I knew with sales, it's my ability. What I do, I control it. I own it. You know, no one else is telling me what to do.
So you get to Toronto, and what are you doing at the time?
Yeah, so I decided that, let's get into the restaurant industry.
Okay. Genius idea.
Yeah, and I never worked at a restaurant before.
Yeah.
I never had a restaurant job.
Okay.
So I opened up a restaurant in Richmond Hill, and I used that as a flagship. And I opened up another 16 locations across Ontario.
Okay.
In the next 3 years.
So most restaurants fail in the first.
It was a brutal business. Brutal business. 3 years, 17 locations across Ontario.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
But I didn't get rich. Okay. Straight up.
Franchise was this?
It was franchise locations.
Okay.
Right. So I had one corporate location in Richmond Hill.
Yeah.
The rest were all franchised out right across Ontario, and I did everything from A to Z. Like I had to find a franchisee, help them get financing.
Okay.
Get the site locations.
Did you start your own restaurant from scratch, or did you like join a different restaurant?
Yeah, it was a restaurant franchise. So
Okay.
I got a franchise and I started franchising it out in Ontario.
Got it. And so what would you say your cooking skill is these days? If we go,
I'm not a good cook. I can't cook. You don't have to be a good cook to run a restaurant.
Yeah, 100%.
But I can tell you right now, don't run a restaurant. It's a horrible business.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, it is what it is, right?
So how long were you in that opportunity?
3 years.
For 3 years. And
Yeah,
just like
3-4 years. I realized this is not it. It's just way too much work, and people are working. Like when you run a restaurant, you're working when everyone else is not working.
Yeah.
People are having fun Friday, Saturday night. You're off on holidays, long weekends, and you're not.
Yeah.
You're working those days.
Wow.
And the hours were long. It was just nasty. I don't mind long hours, but I got to make money.
Yeah.
I want to make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, restaurant business is not cut it.
Now,
I could run a restaurant, but I wouldn't do it.
Would you say the restaurant business was when you made the first $100,000 in a year?
Yeah, I mean, I made $100,000 doing it, but I wasn't getting rich doing it. Straight up. I mean, I was making money. I was comfortable, but it's a lot of work. There was definitely easier ways to make money.
Yeah.
But I was young, right? I was only in my 20s. You got to
Yeah.
understand, I was in my mid 20s. So, I mean, that was all new to me. It was fun, I enjoyed talking to people. So it was nice. I had a good time, but just wasn't for me.
So now what did that transition out look like? What did you decide to do next?
So the next thing I did was I opened up an electronics store.
Okay.
Out in Woodbridge,
All
which
right,
is
I
an
can't wait to
Italian
hear this.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And once again, never been to Woodbridge, but I knew Italians love electronics. And
Okay.
there was an opportunity where really no one was doing this. Those satellite systems,
Okay.
Direct TV, Dish Network stuff. And
Yeah.
I was basically one of the first guys to offer this type of these satellites to the Canadian marketplace. So it was a bit innovative. And I always knew that if you're going to run a business, you got to run a business that's unique and different, offer a product or service that people need. And I don't like competition. So
Yeah.
there was really no competition there.
Okay.
And it was a product or service that everyone needed because people needed to watch TV.
Yeah.
People like to watch TV. And I knew locating in Woodbridge would be good because Italians like that type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so I did that, opened up a retail store there doing that. And I made a pile of money.
Wow.
Yeah, I did really well.
And then,
But I knew it was
happens?
a short shelf life because it's bears a competition. So I knew that I only had maybe 3 years to make a ton of money.
Okay.
And after that, I knew people would learn what I do, and then it was just copy me,
And they do the same thing.
and then the money would go down, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was making really good money, and then because of later on, people were just making less money because let's say you're making $1,000, people come and say, well, I can make $800. And then they can make $400. Then pretty soon you get some guy saying, $100 is great, and they do the same thing I'm doing, and they're making $100.
Yeah.
And I was making $1,000. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
there's no more money in it. So I knew that would happen. So I knew I had 3 years to milk this
Wow.
cow.
Okay.
And then after that, I knew I had to do something.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided, you know what? since I'm a chartered accountant, let's legitimize myself. Let's do something that's a bit more stable, but still in sales. And that's where I got into insurance.
Got it. So before we get too far off on that on that electronics store, it sounds really like a really interesting opportunity. And it seems like you're not really the type of guy that's afraid to pivot, right? Like you're like, yeah, this is only 3 years, and after that, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. And even before that, you know, it was like this whole accounting dream, and then you said, "No, what? I'm going to the restaurant." Like, how did you not get pressure from like your parents? Did you not get pressure from your previous thought of whatever your identity was?
The bottom line is real simple. I had a purpose. The purpose here is for me to be financially free and rich.
Yeah.
Make tons of money, right?
Yeah.
So if this vehicle ain't making me the money, then there's no sense continuing on with this vehicle, right?
Okay.
So you're right. Pivoting is easy once you realize that what you're doing right now is not going to get you where you want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you end up uncovering that electronics opportunity? Like, where did that come from? If you're in the restaurants all the time.
So I got out of the restaurant business, right? Mm-hmm. And I decided to get into the business of helping people get financing because I was good at getting financing. I was good at getting people money, right?
Okay.
Because I opened up 17 restaurants. So I had to get money from the banks. So I had connections on how to get people money from the banks.
Okay.
So I did that. And someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I need this money." And I said, "Well, you need money for?" I was looking to open up this thing, this electronic. I said, "Oh, I never heard about this. I don't even watch TV." I go, "What the hell is this?" Right?
Yeah.
TV's a waste of time, right? Waste of energy, right? And so he goes, "No, but you can make good money doing this." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, that sounds like a good idea." So I just said, "Well, gee, this is a good idea. No one's doing it. No competition. I could do this."
Okay. And you kind of got
so I pivoted out of that into electronics.
Wow.
So you're right. You got to be able to change when you see the opportunity, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You got to be able to make decisions and just go with it and run with it. Right?
Now, would you say that electronics opportunity was probably the first time you made $100,000 in a month?
Yeah, I was making some good money.
Yeah. What's good money, right? Like good money is different from everyone.
I was young, I was in my 20s, right? So I was making a few $100,000 for sure, but I didn't crack $1 million a year. Okay. I wasn't cracking $1 million a year for sure.
And would you say a million's when is considered a lot? Is $1 million good? Like what's really $1 million, right?
Well, I'm an old man, so back then $1 million is a lot of money. Still is today, I think, but not as much. But definitely, now I was doing well, but I wasn't getting rich. Okay, I was doing well.
So you've got these like different terms that all to you mean different things, and I'm sure to everybody else they mean different things as well. Like financial freedom, financial stability, getting rich, being wealthy. Like to some people they all sound like the same thing, but to you they might be different.
Yeah, so, it really depends. Yeah.
So let's define some of these. What would you define as like doing good? What would you define as doing well?
That's a good point. I wrote this book, right?
Yeah, how to make $1 million a year.
Right, how to create $1 million a year income, right?
Yeah.
And in my book, there's a part of my book that addresses what you just asked. It's like a report card of like, how would you give yourself a report card rating, right? Okay. And to me, your level of your income is the report card, right?
Yeah.
And to me, even if you make $1 million a year, that's kind of like in my opinion, probably a B+.
Okay.
Because there's guys out there that are just killing it doing, 5 million, 10 million. There's guys that go out and do $600 million weddings. That guy, right? He just had that wedding recently for $600 million, right? I mean, that guy's A+, right? A+. So, the report card, that kind of rates it all there, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think people need to understand that you got to make at least 6 figures a year.
Okay.
At least. That's like bare minimum.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like, you got to make millions and millions. That's great. Let's make millions. I got that.
Yeah.
But first, we got to understand, you got to get over 100. Okay. That's the first step.
Okay.
And they got to realize that. They got to see that. Make a decision to make over 100. That's the first chapter of my book, make a decision.
Yeah.
And then number 2 chapter of my book is reality. Mm-hmm. Are you making 6 figures?
Yeah.
Are you not or not? Well, what's reality? Like today, are you doing it or not? If you're not doing it, not doing it. That's reality. So, that's important, right? So I think the first step is let's just get you over 6.
Yeah.
Now that you're over 6, then let's get to quarter, half, hit the $1 million. But really, if you're making $1 million a year, I think that's pretty good. I mean, that's
pretty good.
Here we
go again with more terms, right? That's pretty good now. So we got to pretty good. It's $1 million.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Okay. I mean, look, it's better than not, right? Yeah. And is there more? Absolutely, right?
Of course.
I mean, I'm a type of person that just keeps striving. I live in gratitude.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say $1 million's not good enough because I live in gratitude and I come from a middle-class family. And
Yeah.
my dad struggled hard, right?
Yeah,
He didn't make
yeah.
$1 million. My dad made, probably 6 figures as working the oil company, but he wasn't rich working 6 figures. He had to feed 3 boys.
Yeah.
And his wife, my mom,
Mhm,
pay a
mhm.
mortgage. Like my dad didn't have much money at the end of the day, despite making decent money in the company, right?
Yeah.
He didn't have much paycheck at the end of the month. There's
Yeah.
more bills sometimes than paycheck at the end of the month, right?
100%.
So, and that job of his, and I live with gratitude, and I'm very happy. If you hit the $1 million, that's great. But
Yeah.
I'm also the type of person knows that I can make, 5, 10, 20. Why
Yeah.
not? Let's go for it. You only live
100%.
once.
100%. It's like,
So-
why not aim as high as we can?
Aim as high as you can. But
Yeah.
you know what? As you meet these plateaus, these levels,
Mm-hmm.
live with gratitude. You make your first 6 figures. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Then you make your quarter of $1 million. Awesome. Well done. Let's move on. Don't be satisfied,
Hmm.
right? Be grateful. Don't be comfortable. Be uncomfortable and move forward. That's what it is.
So now you finish up with this electronics opportunity.
Yeah.
And so what happens? What's that exit look like? Do you sell it? Do you just say, you know what, I'm
Okay,
closing
so
shop,
I knew
keep
the
moving?
window opportunity was 3 years, right?
Okay.
So I kept it going, right? But I knew sales were going down and the margins were going down because
Yeah.
of competition.
Yeah.
Right? So I just kept it open. So it lasted for 7 years, right?
Okay.
But in 3 years, I got into the insurance business. So while I was doing
Mm.
insurance, the store just ran on its own
Yeah.
and got its own course. I
Mhm.
eventually sold it to a competitor.
Ah.
Because what I also realized in that business, right,
Uh-huh.
I was installing stuff and doing what I was doing. I knew it was easily duplicatable. Like I
Okay.
said, the barriers of entry were not there.
Yeah.
So I ended up training people to be my competitor. So my
Ah.
installers and people working there were learning how to make the money I was making.
Yeah.
So I knew I was just killing myself, but I had no choice, right? I'm not going to go install this stuff. I'm not going to go out there and be a technician, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that the window was limited. So
Mhm.
my competitors ended up were my ex-employees,
Okay.
and they were building their own electronic stores. And
Okay.
so all I did was I sold it to one of my ex-employees who had opened an electronic store a few miles away.
Interesting.
And how I did that was an interesting story because I actually got one of my reps to plant it in his ear that hey, you should take over Perry's business. And I said to him, because I can't go and ask someone to take over my store,
Yeah.
right? So
Changes your negotiating power.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
So I had to go indirectly. So this is how you get rid of a business. You don't want to look like you want to sell the business. You just want to like, hey, I didn't think about it. So the guy, my buddy, approached him and said, hey, you should buy Perry out, He goes,
Okay.
"Why, Perry wants to sell." No, Perry doesn't want to sell out. But if you get rid of Perry, that gets rid of the competition. You take over the whole market. You should give him just talk to him. So
Yeah.
he came, talked to me. I said, gee, I never thought about that. I make a lot of money here, right? So,
Mm.
I've been here for a while. This is good, right? So I don't know
Yeah.
if I really want to sell.
Okay.
And he goes, but you're right though. Maybe it is time for me to do it.
So
So I just bailed out of there fast.
Yeah,
I sold
yeah.
out fast. I
Set 'em
wanted
up.
to get out of there.
And was that your first? I guess that wasn't your first time selling. Did you do something similar with the franchises? Like, how did you end up getting out
Yeah,
of the
so that I
franchise
just get out there.
opportunity?
Like, look, if it ain't gonna work, if it's not going where you want to go, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Don't
wow.
fall in love with the inventory.
Okay.
That's a line I always like to use.
Okay.
If your business is your business. I mean, I didn't grow up wanting to sell insurance.
Hmm.
I mean, I remember when I was 20 years old, my dad goes, hey, you should go work for an insurance company, London Life. They have good training and, you can go sell insurance. I'm
Mhm.
20 years old. I'm like,
Insurance.
Are you mad?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell insurance. Are
Yeah.
you on crack? Like, this is crazy, right? I'm not going to sell insurance, right? And then 10 years later, here I am selling insurance, right?
Yeah.
The point is, it's not that I love insurance. I
Yeah.
love making money. I love sales. And
Mhm.
I'm going to sell what people need.
Yeah.
And make money doing it. I mean,
Okay.
as long as it's ethical, moral, and helping people, I do have that moral code. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I want to leave people better than I found them.
Yeah.
That's where I dictate what I do in life is I want to make sure whatever I do leaves people better than when I found them.
Mm.
So I'm here to add value. I'm here to make your life better.
Understood.
And that's my mindset.
Yeah.
And so, I don't care what that is, but
Mhm.
as long as I'm adding value, that's great. And if insurance adds value and I can make tons of money doing it, I'm in.
So where did this insurance opportunity pop up in your life? I know. Like you talk about planting seeds, right? Your dad
Yeah.
must have planted that
Right.
seed. Oh, you should sell
Right.
insurance, right? So now it's probably
Right.
brewing. But you sell this electronics company,
Yeah.
and now what are you? You don't seem like the guy to get bored. So like, how quickly did you make that transition, and how did you even find the insurance
Yeah.
opportunity to begin with?
Yeah. So that was like 25 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So,
But there's no
I'm gonna-
no internet like there is now.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
like it's coming
exactly,
up, but
right.
it's not like you just all of a sudden
Right.
get an ad on your Instagram. There's no
well,
Instagram.
I always
dude.
knew that you know, I always like sales.
Yeah.
And I always want to get into, like I said, sell product people need and all that.
Mhm.
And what I mean, I had choices. I could have done real estate.
You could have done anything.
I could have done real estate. I could have done mortgages.
Man,
I
you're
could have
Perry
done
Wong,
anything, right?
You're gonna kill any opportunity that you're into.
I wanted to do something that fitted my background as a CA, although I didn't practice as a CA.
Understood.
I still had the designation.
And you still probably had the love for numbers and finance.
Yeah, I'm good at numbers and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, what's legitimate that makes money? And
Mhm.
like I said, I could have gone to real estate. And I love real estate. I
Yeah.
think real estate, you can make a ton of money in it, and you do, and you can. But the problem with real estate and the other ones is that there was no trailers, there's no residuals.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with insurance,
Well, tell the people.
so with insurance, it's not a one-shot deal. With insurance, you're making trailers.
Mhm.
So you get a customer today, I'm getting paid a residual for life.
Okay.
As long as that policy stays on the books,
Mhm.
I'm getting paid. So
Okay.
I'm building a real business.
Okay.
So eventually down the road, that book of business is producing me an annual trailer.
Yeah.
And that's what attracted me to insurance, because I knew I can sell. I knew I was good at sales.
Mhm.
But you know, I wanted something that will keep on producing, even if I wasn't. Make sense? That
Okay.
passive income, you might say, right?
Okay.
But I also knew going into this
Mhm.
that there was something wrong with insurance, and the problem of insurance, especially life insurance, is that it was a very competitive marketplace.
Okay.
There's a lot of people doing it,
Mhm.
and I knew going in that the competition was fierce.
Yeah.
But I knew the money was good, and so I still went in it knowing that there was a lot of competition, and that was that's the negative of the insurance side, is the
Mhm.
competition.
Okay.
And if you get into any business, right, because you know there's a lot of business opportunities out there, right? I'm not saying insurance is the best one out there. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that you really want to find the ideal business
Okay.
where there is no competition. It's
Mm.
just basic economics, supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
Is there a demand for the product, and who's the supplier, right? They
Mhm.
teach you that in economics 101, right?
Yeah.
And so with insurance, yeah, there's a need for insurance, but there was also a lot of supply. Right? I
Mm.
mean,
Understood.
and I knew that going in. And really it was only until like 9 years ago that I came across an opportunity in the industry which differentiated me, and that's what propelled me, right? So, you know, really it's about getting into something, looking, and then realizing that when you see an opportunity, pivoting, right? So I like what you said earlier about the pivoting part.
Mhm.
I pivot very quickly. I don't waste time. If I see something that can take me to the next level, I'm going to jump. I'm going to go for that.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were doing the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but just general insurance for 20 years or so.
Yeah. So 25 years ago, I was your typical life agent, selling
Yeah.
life insurance,
Yeah.
doing investments and all that, wealth manager.
Mhm.
Sounded great. You know, I'm a wealth manager, you know, I'm looking good. I'm sharp, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm CA. I'm wealth
manages.
manager,
Yeah, it looks great, but you
Yeah.
know, I wasn't getting rich doing it. I was making money. I was making six figures. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
I had a comfortable life. Life
Mhm.
was good, but I knew that being comfortable is not going to make me financially rich. I want to be up here. I was not happy being here. I mean,
Mhm.
bills
Mhm.
are being paid. Life was good.
Yeah.
You know, I had a Corvette. Things were nice. You know, I had a nice car. But the point is, you know, I wasn't getting rich. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wasn't making the big money.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but I was opening my eyes for opportunity. And like I said, you know, 9 years ago, I came across an opportunity where I saw this product that no one else was selling. And
Now,
that's where I pivoted to that.
how did that come across your desk? Was it just you reading? Was it just you exploring? Was it just you being open?
It was by accident.
By
Straight up.
accident.
One of my clients just asked me about this type of insurance, and I said it doesn't exist. You know, no one does that. And then he told me about this company that offered it.
Yeah.
He's a truck driver. All people. He still drives truck today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
So the truck driver that told
the truck
you about
driver who
this
doesn't sell
opportunity.
insurance. He's
Yeah.
not in the industry. Who's driving truck.
Yeah.
He came across this company, and you know, combined, and he said, "Gee, you know, this company sells this living benefit, this
Yeah.
insurance that protects people when they're alive. It's the
Okay.
opposite of life insurance, right?
Yeah.
And he
That
goes,
only pays out when
that.
you
He
die.
goes, that's what I need.
Uh-huh.
And I said, yeah, but I never heard of this company before, right? I mean, I've been doing insurance for 16 years at a time.
And you haven't heard about
And
this
so by
thing, yeah.
accident, I was approached. I saw that, and I looked into it. I saw the products. I said, whoa, light bulb turned on. And that's the day
Mhm.
that my life changed. I mean,
Interesting.
it took me from here to here. I mean, I pretty much
And next thing you know, like through the roof, you apply
Yeah,
the
just
same.
went up, like just right up.
Yeah.
And I pivoted right away. Like it wasn't even like I decided, forget life insurance, forget selling wealth management products, forget about being that financial advisor nonsense.
Yeah.
The investment, because investment advisors, everyone's an investment advisor.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's done. I just went right into this product, this living benefits, and
Wow.
it took me to a whole new level.
Really? Okay. So now all of a sudden you get this new opportunity, and it changes the whole trajectory of your business.
Yeah.
You get this thing. What are some of your first moves? Is it call your existing clients and present to them this new thing? Is it, find new lists and go attack that? Like, how did you, once you get this thing, like you tend to get excited, right? And not just you, a lot of people, right? Once they find a new opportunity.
I've always been doing sales, right?
Yeah.
All my life, right?
Okay.
So at that time, I guess I've been doing sales for a good
forever,
for a long time, over 20 years. At that time,
the moment that you're done CA, it starts selling.
Yeah. So
right?
over 20 years, I've been a sales guy, right?
Yeah.
So I have a large network. I've always networking. I constantly networked, so I know a lot of people, and that's really, I was always constantly building that funnel or that group of people that I know, and so once you see something, you can go to that group and just have a conversation, right? I mean, that's really what I did. I said, I'm just having a conversation. It's actually on my business card. It says having a new conversation.
Yeah. I
didn't talk about insurance. I just said, I'm just having a new conversation. And I came out with a slogan, changing the landscape of the insurance industry.
Yeah.
Changing the landscape from a death insurance to a living focus. And, that came up just basically that when I first saw this, I just knew this is not about me selling insurance, it's about me just having a new conversation. Wow. A conversation that no one else is having, and a conversation that people needed to have and be understanding. And that's where it took my business to a whole new level, because people weren't having this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just having a talk, that's all. I'm not here to sell you. I'm just here to have a conversation.
Just here to have well, same, I'm just here to have a conversation. And thank you for taking the time to have a conversation with us. So now at this point, before you found this opportunity, how big was your team at the time? Like how many agents did you have?
I was independent.
Independent. So just you.
I was just your typical insurance guy, selling. And I knew I wanted to build an organization, because I knew that the key to taking it to the next level is to become an owner, like you're managing, like you're leading a team, right? Yeah. That's where it is. All successful business owners are like that, right? Yeah. They have a team of people working with them, right? And
nice.
At that time, I knew I had to do that, but to build a team in an life insurance realm is difficult, because there's so much competition. Yeah. And people are not loyal in that team. They can easily leave. Okay. Remember, in the electronic industry, I learned that there's the barriers weren't there, so people can steal your ideas and do that. Yeah. Well, in the insurance industry, there's so many insurance agents out there all doing the same thing, selling life. Mm-hmm. It was easy for them to switch teams. Okay. So you can't build a team in that industry because there's no barriers to get them to stay with you. They can easily leave your team. Yeah. So you can train someone and then they leave you, like what happened in the electronics industry. So I knew that was the problem with the life insurance industry. Yeah. People can come in, you train them, you teach them everything, and then you leave. Well, that's great. I just spent all this time teaching someone, and now they're my competitor. That's what happened in electronics. Yeah. Life insurance, same thing. So I had to find a business where I could train people and they don't leave. Okay. And what made this opportunity unique 9 years ago is because we have no competition in terms of the company. So they can't leave. Okay. It's not like, oh, this company does it, but so does the other companies. In the United States, honestly, there's like 3-4 companies that do this. Okay. So there is competition in America. Okay. But in Canada, there is none. Wow. So we're in a very unique position being Canadian. Sometimes, being Canadian is a negative, right? Oh, it's better to be in the States. In this particular case, it's actually better not to be in the States, because in the States, there's competitors. In here, there isn't. So when do you think you first learned that lesson about exclusivity? Because it seems like that's a theme throughout the life ever since the restaurant industry. It's like you always wanted to be one of one. You're actually correct. You got to do something that's unique. So even in the restaurant industry, I had a unique concept, right? Open kitchen concept, smaller footprint, easier to open one up and get going, and it had a unique, friendly style. Really, no real competition, right? It was a seafood restaurant. My only real competitor was Red Lobster, right? Okay. At the time, But my quality was better, smaller footprint, easier to open up as opposed to Red Lobster, which is big and huge, right?
Yeah.
So that was my edge, right? But the problem was restaurant industry, not everyone wants to eat seafood, but you know, it's like the problem is there's a lot of restaurants out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, you know, they don't have to eat by rather they could eat Greek food, they could eat Chinese food, they could eat any type of food, right?
type of food.
You know,
Yeah.
Jamaican food, whatever they want, right? So it didn't matter, right? So that's the problem, right? So I always knew that I had to find an angle.
Okay.
I always knew in my head there had to be an angle, just like why I got into electronics. I was the only one doing it.
Yeah.
No competition.
Yeah.
So I knew going to life insurance, there was a lot of competition. So I already knew that was the negative. So I just had to find a way to find something that didn't have competition.
Okay.
And that's where I found this 9 years ago.
Yeah. Now let's say you were starting a bit, like everything was gone. There's no more Perry Wong. There's no more, well, not no more Perry Wong, but like it's just Perry Wong starting over again. He just sold his restaurant opportunity. How would you go about finding something that was that unique? You know, like where do you look? How do you start seeing these things?
It's like, you just gotta be out there, right? Like I said, right from a day, as a young age, I was a social butterfly in the sense that I'm always out there talking to people.
Okay.
I'm not afraid to talk to people. I volunteered in a lot of things. I was very politically active at the time. I did a lot of things. I was out there networking. I was constantly going to events and all that. You just gotta keep your eyes open. You gotta be open-minded. You gotta not be closed-minded. I'm a very open-minded person. I listen to people and I take it in and I evaluate, right? And but you got to be out there talking to people, seeing people. You got to be worldly. You got to know things.
Yeah.
Like you just can't be just pigeonholed to this. Like I have a wide variety of interests, music tastes. My friends are from every ethnic group out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not your typical Chinese guy. I mean, or French Canadian or whatever. I'm
What is Perry Wong?
I know lots of people, and I hang out with all types of people.
Okay.
And I don't care what you do, what you think, or who you identify with. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I'm out there talking to people and just got to be out there.
Now, do you remember the first time you made $100,000 in a day?
Well, you know, I mean, it happened like very quickly in the sense of, you know, once, I mean, a few years ago when I was doing it and all that. And, you know, getting that paycheck was very nice, you know, a 6-figure paycheck's very nice to have.
Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting when you just want to win, right? Like the number doesn't matter. It's just like, okay, I beat the number. Now let's beat it again. Right.
Well, that's the whole point, right? It's not that I'm not gracious and I live in gratitude. Of course, I live in gratitude, and you have to live in gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, for everything we got, right? But yeah, definitely. And my brain goes, okay, well, what's the next level?
What's the next
How
level?
do I get to the next level, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, life is short. There's so much stuff happening out there. The world just kind of messed up. We all know the world's kind of messed
100%.
up. 100%. You know, I got 2 kids now, and you know, it's my responsibility right now to make sure I give them whatever I can, right?
Yeah.
Make their life as best as possible, right? And you know, money just makes things easier, and so I gotta just make sure I also set the example to my kids, right?
Yeah,
because I'm the role model. Am I not the role model? Like
100%.
my son, my daughter looks up to me, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, I hope they look up to me,
yeah.
Right? And or they might not look up at me, right? So if I'm not a good father, if I'm not a good husband, if I'm not a good father, if I'm not a good leader, then that also reflects on my kids too, right? So there's a lot of not pressure, but really obligation out there to really be successful. I don't want to show my kids to stop. I want to show my kids that
it's possible.
Anything's possible. Put your mind to it.
Yeah.
And you just got to go for it, and not to be comfortable. Life's not about being comfortable.
So when did you not when, but like what is that next level look like for you now? You know, what types of things are you after these days?
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now it's really about expanding my team right across Canada. I'm already across Canada.
Yeah.
I got reps right across from Victoria, BC, all the way out to Newfoundland. Right.
Nice. How many team members are you at?
I'm around 250 right now.
Okay.
Right? And you know, it's a very quality. I don't hire everyone. Like I don't work with everyone because my time's very limited, right?
Yeah.
So I have to find the right people to mentor, the right people to go out there and coach and get them to the next level. I always tell people, I'm not your boss, but you know, I'm like your coach. I'm your coach. I'm here to, and I don't charge. So I'm your free coach. I'm your free physical trainer. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a guy who's going to get you financially healthy, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the sky's the limit. Honestly, my next step, honestly, is to hit 1,000.
Okay, 1,000 team members,
and then go to 5,000 and 10,000.
Just keep it going.
I mean, there's the sky's the limit. There's really no limit here.
Yeah.
And you know, if I'm cracking, you know, well over 7 figures, you know, 6 figures a month, doing what I do with 200 reps around.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if I hit 1,000? What number would that be?
Only one way to find out, Perry.
Right.
What's it going to take to get there?
Well, I could probably get that there in probably the next few years for sure.
Is it something different that you're going to have to do, or is it more of the same?
Yeah. So this is where you come in with something called 10x.
Okay.
You want to 10x your income, right? So in life, we're always 10xing things, like we're getting better, right? So obviously, I 10x my income here. I want to get to the next level, next 10x.
Yeah.
And there's a good book to read. The book is called 10x is easier than 2x.
Than 2x.
Right? And it makes sense because he's like, how can 10x be easier than 2x? I mean, double my income is harder than 10xing my income.
Yeah.
It's a weird flat pattern.
Uh-huh.
And the book this book's great. So I highly recommend you read this book, right?
Okay.
It's what it says is there's many ways for you to 2x your income.
Mm-hmm.
You can 2x your income, like, I want to make a few extra bucks. Okay, so you can drive Uber Eats, you can deliver pizzas, you can clean toilets, you can make more money. I could sell more insurance.
Yeah.
Go and sell more insurance, right?
Yeah.
So I could 2x my income. Many ways.
Yeah.
But if you sit down and you realize, if I want to 10x my income,
I have to change everything.
there's not too many ways to 10x your income.
Mm-hmm.
Delivering pizzas, cleaning toilets, or even
10X
selling a few more policies is not going to 10x my income.
No.
So I can eliminate that.
Huh.
You understand?
Yeah.
So once you figure out, okay, this is the way to 10x my income. I got to do this and this. This is the way to do it. Then you just put your mind towards doing that and get rid of everything else.
Okay.
The problem in life is a lot of times people are they're wasting their time being busy. They're busy, but are they busy doing the right thing? And so we're busy trying to 2x our income, but really stop being so busy doing that stuff. That stuff will never get you to 10x. You want to 10x your income, you got to do this, whatever that this is. I found it. I found how to do it.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing. So I'm running with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm a madman. I'm actually working longer hours now than I did before, but I enjoy it and I love it. And I'm seeing people grow and I'm seeing people get financially free. I'm seeing people in my team making tons of money. So that gets me excited. So it's kind of like a different mission now. It's not about me 10xing my income anymore. It's about me helping others 10x their income. So me helping others take that next level. You know, I've achieved the level. Great. Good for me. Now let's see others do it. And so, you know, basically what you got to do is if you just focus on what it takes to 10x, and you know what it takes. Let's be straight up here. You don't need me to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
You know what it takes. You got to do this and this, whatever it is. Then do it. But if you're doing this and this, and you're not making the money you're making, well, then obviously that's not what you got to do.
That's not a thing.
Right? It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Pivot.
if I want to lose weight, I got to make a decision. See, this one, that's where I'm not 10x,
Come on,
right?
Perry. You said you're going to cut the cream out the
Exactly,
coffee,
right.
Perry. You say you're going to cut the
So
cream
health
out
is
the
an area where I'm not 10xing my health for sure. I'm not, right?
Okay.
But I know what it takes to 10x to my health.
Yeah.
I got to eat properly, exercise right, go to the gym, eat properly. Am I doing it? I'm trying to get there. I'm kind of there. I'm kind of being comfortable.
Perry,
I'm not willing to be too
Are you
uncomfortable.
committed or are you addicted, Perry?
Exactly. Committed or addicted, right? So am I addicted to potato chips, addicted to ice cream, addicted to all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I know what it takes to 10x my health.
Yeah.
The question is, I got to make a decision to do it.
You got to make a decision, man.
And
Chapter
I got
one.
chapter one, and reality is, the
Yeah.
reality, Mr. Wong, is you're eating potato chips and ice cream. That is not going to 10x your health.
It's not going to 10x.
You got what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, and
You know
that's-
what it
and
takes.
in my book, I talk about something like inspiration, action,
Yeah.
know-how, and activity knowledge, right?
Mhm.
And this all comes from William Clement Stone's, right?
Okay.
So that's not one of my ideas, but I talk about it in my book, and I
Yeah.
recognize William Clement Stone for those great ideas because he calls those a success system that never fails.
Okay.
Right? And it's like there's 3 points of success that you must have. If you want to be successful, these are the 3 things you got to have.
Okay.
Inspiration, action, right? Know-how, and activity, knowledge. And inspiration, action is what inspires you to act, what motivates you to act, right? And in my business, oh yeah, I'm motivated to act. Oh yeah, Perry, business-wise, making money, yeah, I'm in there, right?
Yeah.
Do I got the know-how? Yeah, I got the know-how. Am I taking action, right? Activity, knowledge? Yeah, I'm doing it. So I'm hitting 10 out of 10, and yeah, I'm financially free now, right? That's great. But let's talk about where Perry's not hitting
Okay.
it out of the park.
Okay.
My health.
Okay.
Okay. Am I inspired in my health? Yeah, I'm kind of there, but I'm not really there.
Yeah.
I need to be more inspired. What does
Okay.
it take for Perry Wong to be inspired for himself?
What's it going to take, Perry?
Do I have to get a heart attack? Do I get type 2 diabetes?
Maybe you need to put more cream in your coffee.
or
before
whatever
you
it
get
is, right?
inspired, yeah.
The point is, my inspiration to get healthy is not a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
It's probably a 6 or 7, to be honest, right?
Okay.
So what does it take? Do I have to get diabetes? Do I have to get sick? Whatever. I don't know, right? But I got to be inspired, right?
Okay.
So I'm getting there, though. I'm getting there.
Good.
And then the second thing is know-how. Well, fuck, I know what know-how is. I mean, like, I know what it takes.
Yeah.
Stay away from the potato chips. Don't eat out all the time. Eat healthy. We all know this.
Yeah.
Okay. We know what it takes to be healthy. We know what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's easy. But number 3 is the hard one for me on this one is activity knowledge, taking action. Taking what you know and taking action and, staying away from the bad stuff, going to the gym, exercising, eating well, taking action. So in the health side, that's where I'm failing. And, in life, we're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect by any means, but you need to recognize where you're weak at and you got to recognize where you're strong at.
Okay.
And then you got to say to yourself, am I ready to make that decision? Am I ready to be uncomfortable? Am I inspired enough to become uncomfortable?
Okay.
And in life, I say there's 4 things in your life. There's your business, your finances, which is important.
Okay.
But you also your health.
Okay.
There's your relationships, right? Even relationships as a son or a daughter or as a husband or a father.
Yeah.
Right. Relationships with your friends or your family, right? Your relationships. And 4th, spirituality, right? And in those 4 pillars, I'm definitely not hitting 10 out of 10 on all of them. All right. For sure. Right.
Yeah.
Financial wise, I'm doing great.
Okay.
But what about the other 3 pillars, right?
Yeah.
And, you got to recognize where you are and then decide, do you want to be uncomfortable? And are you willing to be uncomfortable? And, are you either committed or you're addicted?
Yeah.
And you just got to realize in life that if you're committed to your purpose, whatever that is, you just got to go for it, right? You got to take ownership. You got to take ownership and stop renting.
Yeah.
And that's how you get there.
Now, it sounds like there's been a lot of inspirational figures and a lot of books that have shaped some of the things that you believe in, some of the things that inspire you to act, right? Like you mentioned 10x is greater than 2x. Yeah. You mentioned William Clement Stone, right? These are great figures, great inspirations, great sources of knowledge that have, kind of shaped the Perry Wong that we see today. Now, are there other sources of information, other, resources that you've consumed in a recent memory that have had a huge domino effect? Because there's some things that, just continue to push us along our path, but there's some things that are those inflection points. It's like almost like you coming up with the information about the living benefits versus the death benefits. Like that's something that changed you exponentially. It's not just like a linear change. It's not a 2x change. That's a 10x change. Where else in your life have you gotten that 10x change in your mindset? And the things that you believe in, the things that you do. I'm curious.
Yeah, great question, right? And I just want to quickly mention this point. The key is to recognize that if you do see a 10x situation, is to take action.
Okay.
A lot of times people see stuff and they kind of meddle and they overthink it. They kind of mind fuck it too much.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're trying to cross the T's and dot the I's, and they end up not taking action.
Yeah. They spend more time aiming than they do shooting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I look back at why I've been able to take where I am today is because when I see an opportunity, I analyze it, but I make a decision. Okay. I hit it hard. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's fine. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to fall down, but you got to recognize that. And then if it's not working the way it should be, then you can do something, right? Okay. You got to pivot, like you said, right? Yeah. But the point is, taking action. So many times I see people, they don't take action. Yeah. But you also can't be distracted too, right? You got to be able to be focused. Yeah. That's the key.
Which is tough. It's
and
tough.
That's key. Focus is key.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I heard this thing one time, like you can look at the sun, right? Like you put a sun through a magnifying glass, it's going to start a fire. Yeah. But just the sun on its own is just going to warm you up, right?
Exactly.
It's different having that laser focus.
So I realize when I'm laser focused, I do very well. Right?
Yeah.
So back to your question about what other things have taken me to another level is, please. I belong to a men's organization too, which is a great organization, which, has definitely helped me be more focused and help me become the man I want to be. Right. And it's about just being in the right peer groups, being in the right environment.
When you think about your favorite lesson or kind of like take away from that environment, which one sticks out to you? Because there was an experience that I had as part of like this mastermind group. Yeah. And I met this guy who's doing like $800K a month. Right. And I was like, dude, like, how do I make that type of money? And he's like, oh man, he actually came to me and he said, yo, I like your videos. How do I make videos like you? Yeah. I'm like, dude, how do I make money like you? Right. And he's like, oh, it's easy. Just take all those. So we had a conversation and he's like, oh, it's simple. Take all those 5 things that you're doing, cut all of them except for one, only focus on that and watch what happens.
Exactly. And so it's exactly what I said, right? Yeah. You're 2Xing a lot of things.
2Xing too much.
And we're spending all this time 2Xing stuff. Yeah. Oh, well, I could make $1 here. I could make $1 here. No, forget that. If you need, you know what it takes to 10x. You know, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You just got to do that.
Okay.
And if you do that, you will 10x. And so he gave you the exact same advice.
Yeah.
Get rid of 4 or 5 things you got to do. And that's actually what the book says. The book actually says, get rid of, I think 80% on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Actually, that's exactly what it is. 80%. 80% what you're doing and just focus on the 20. Right. But the funny thing, when I look back, when I did it, I actually got rid of 100%. Okay. I went all into this thing 9 years ago, and that's why my income went up like that. So really focus is important. And I think a lot of times people don't focus, and a lot of times people get distracted. Yeah. They're jumping from one thing to another.
Well, why do you think
they're pivoting too much? Too much pivot, too much distraction.
But why do you think that is though? You know, like what do you think it's fear? You think it's knowledge? Do you think it's like what do you think causes it?
I think sometimes people, they try and get the easy way out. Maybe that's what it is. Okay. So when they see another distraction, they see something else, they think it's easier. They think the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah. And they kind of move over there. Yeah. And then the next flavor of the month, the next trend. Okay. You know, the next trend. What's the next trend? What's the next trend? Right. Yeah. And
you know, the grass is greener where you water it, Perry.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But you know, sometimes you got to realize you're watering cement. And this is chapter 2. Right? So people are thinking I'm watering cement, and I've seen people like that. They're watering cement, and they think you're going to grow, but you're not. You're going to grow weeds, maybe. You might get some weeds.
But how do you know that, though? How do you That's the thing. How do you know that the opportunity is the wrong one to pursue? Because so you're in this thing, and you know that the shelf life is 3 years on it, right? For example,
it's all logic.
Is it okay?
I see where you're getting at. How do you know? Yeah. Look, we're smart people. You look at the opportunity. It makes sense. Like it has to be logical. Forget about all the hype, all the nonsense. Like me, like people say, oh, Perry, you can sell anything. Okay, forget about guys that can sell anything. Look at it logically. Okay. This is where my accounting background comes in, right? Yeah. I'm very analytical too. Yeah. Analyze it. Look at it. Does it make sense? Does it smell right? Right? Like there's people out there trying to recruit for life insurance companies, for example, right? Okay. Trying to build some life insurance team. Yeah. The market is saturated with life agents. We don't need more life agents. So how can you build a team of life agents when we don't need more life agents? Doesn't it make more sense for you to build a team of agents that we need where there's a shortage? It's basic supply and demand. Yeah. So to me, that's very logical, right? It's not my opinion. It's very logical, right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's logical that you don't want to compete with other people. It's easier. I'm not saying you can't make money doing that. I'm just saying it's easier to be in a business where you're the only one doing something that everyone needs, and no one else is doing it. Like that's just basic. Yeah. Find a product service that everyone needs and be the only one doing it. Supply and demand. And you know, there's people out there thinking that, oh, I can build a big team of life agents and that. That doesn't make any sense because the market doesn't need more life agents. We got enough of them. It's like saying, I'm going to build a team of real estate agents. We don't need more real estate agents. I'm not saying real estate is bad. In fact, I'm telling you right now, I love real estate. I think real estate is a great way to make money, right? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I want to sell real estate. Yeah. Doesn't mean that I want to go out there and become a realtor. Yeah. Because there's a million realtors out there. Why do I want to be one of a million realtors? But or make a ton of money here and invest in real estate and make a ton of money in real estate. Yeah. That I agree with, right? Yeah. But that doesn't mean I want to go be a realtor. My dad said, you know, you like eating doesn't mean you have to own a restaurant. You know, you like to cook doesn't mean you want to work in a restaurant. Oh, I like to cook. Okay, I'm going to open up a restaurant. That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. You like to cook, make a ton of money, invite all your friends and family to your house on a Friday night and cook a meal for them. If that's what you like to do, have a big ass barbecue on a Saturday. Yeah. You know, make a ton of money doing whatever, make the money and enjoy your passion. If your passion is traveling, doesn't mean that you want to go out and travel. I love traveling. I go on trips every 2 weeks, every 2 months, right? My kids have been on like 10 cruises in the last 2 years. In 2 years, 10 cruises. Are you adopting
right now,
right?
Perry, or what?
What's that?
You adopting right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to adopt you. You're a good kid. Yeah. You'll be a good mentor for my kids. So the bottom line is this, all right? You know, at the end of the day, right? Yeah. You know, you just have to go for it, right? And, you know, there's a lot of people doing what they're doing and it doesn't make any sense. Like they got to realize reality. What is reality here, right? And just hit it. Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I think that one of, you know, if you love cooking, it doesn't mean you have to make your money in a restaurant. Just go cook on the weekends and make your money doing your thing. So what do you say to those people that, oh, I want to make money for my passion. I'm not passionate about this thing. I want to make, but Perry, I hear that all the time. But I'm passionate about
I don't know, whatever, you know?
Listen, you know, I'm not passionate about insurance straight up.
Okay.
Okay. I'm passionate about, you know, being financially free, which I've achieved now.
Yeah.
So my passion has changed, right? You're allowed to
Yeah.
change your passions, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I think there's a lot of people that needed that permission, right? Like you're allowed to change your passion just because you're passionate about it right
because
now.
I've achieved it, right?
Yeah.
So I've achieved my financial freedom. I achieved the money.
Mhm.
So my passion is now pivoted and changed
Yeah.
to helping others achieve it, helping
Okay.
others get that financially free. Because
Yeah.
I know this world's messed up.
Mhm.
And if I can help people become financially free and make a ton of money,
Yeah.
then you know what? Then the world's be a better place.
I agree.
And with proper mentorship and guidance, leaving people better than when we found them,
Yeah.
then we can do good things.
Yeah.
So back to the passion thing. I mean, I'm passionate. I mean, people say, like, I'm passionate about travel, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't mean I'm going to go up a travel store and become a travel agent.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a ton of money and travel,
Yeah.
right? You know, and so, you know, make money, find something that makes sense, make money,
Mhm.
and with that money, enjoy your passion,
Yeah.
right? If you're trying to find the perfect case where you make tons of money and be passion,
Yeah.
then great. And I guess in a way I'm doing that now because I'm making a ton of money, but I'm also passionate helping others do the same thing. So
Yeah.
I guess in a way I am doing what my passion is, right? But
Yeah.
that wasn't the initial thing, right?
Yeah.
The initial thing was I need to, for sure, like before I can fix others or help others, I got to fix myself.
Agreed.
First, love yourself, fly, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One
Fly.
of my greatest mentors is this guy named Ron Turrell. He came up with that line, first love yourself, right?
What's his name? Ron.
Captain Ron's we call him. He's on my team.
Yeah.
He calls himself Captain Ron's. And he said something called first love yourself, fly.
Okay.
So I want to recognize that's his idea,
Okay.
not mine. I don't
what
want to
else
steal
did-
people's
what else
ideas.
Did, what
So
else
flies, first love yourself. And,
What el-
and that's important, right? You got to love yourself first and then you can help others, right?
Mhm.
And so, you know, your passion, yes, is important. But first, I think you really need to make a ton of money first.
Yeah.
And then you can enjoy your passion or whatever it is. If you want to help others, great. But money can help a lot of people. So use your money in a good way.
Yeah.
Use
So
your money in the best.
What was the amount for Perry before you said, you know what, I'm on, like you said, on the island?
I think
you
over
know?
$1 million a year is a good number.
That was
To
the
hit.
first.
I think
kinda
because
like
anything
milestone?
under $1 million is, don't get me wrong, is I mean, six
Yeah.
figures is great.
Yeah.
But at least with over $1 million, you're in a different plateau. You're in a
Okay.
different field. It's a totally different realm of thinking.
Yeah.
Your brain just thinks differently. Because when you're
Interesting.
clearing over $1 million a year, there's really no financial issue.
Yeah.
And
And
you know,
it's
you're not really
like an
financially broke,
incremental, 10 grand, 100 grand isn't really going to change your life at
Yeah.
that point, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that was the pivoting point. When you crack
Yeah.
over $1 million, then your brain kind of goes, well, okay, well,
now
now
what?
I think now I can now help others a lot better than before. Like, yeah, sure, I want to help people even when I was making less money, but it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to be a physical trainer if you haven't lost the poundage yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like here's 300-pound Perry saying, I want to help others lose weight too.
Stop eating chips.
You know,
Stop
look,
putting
I'm
cream in
eating,
your
don't eat
coffee.
chips. It's bad for you.
Yeah.
Right. But 300-pound Perry, I was never 300 pounds. But the
Okay.
point is, I was never that big. But the point is, I got to lose the weight, get down to the proper weight. Then I can be a physical trainer, right?
Understood.
I can't coach you on financial if I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't help you be financially free if I'm not there yet.
Understood.
Right? I can't mentor people to be there unless
Yeah.
I'm there, right? So, I think that's why I think for me, the pivoting point was cracking that 7 figures. And then at that point in time, I knew I could then truly help
Mhm.
others.
Mhm,
Sure,
mhm.
I was helping others before that, but it wasn't ideal. It wasn't perfect. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't attain that success yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So if you got like a new agent that joins your team that wants to make some money, right? Doesn't know how just yet. What would kind of be like the roadmap that you would put them on?
Yeah,
How-
exactly. I mean, look, first of all, I got to find that right person, right?
Okay.
Like I said, I'm very limited in my time.
So
and-
who is the right person? Let's go first of all, because now instead of going into
Yeah.
your sales mode, you're in like
Yeah.
recruitment mode, which is still a sale
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Let's be
course,
honest,
yeah.
right? But you're in recruitment mode.
Yeah.
What are the type of people that you're looking for, and how did you come up with that criteria?
Yeah, so I found out real easily that first I got to find people that are outgoing, that are energetic, that are not scared to talk to people, because this is a sales position, right?
Yeah.
You're here selling. So you can have the best product in the world, no competition, everyone needs it. But if you can't open your mouth and talk to people, you're shy, or you're not willing to be uncomfortable and talk to people, or maybe talking to people might be uncomfortable for people. It's not for me, but maybe I got to find that person where
Yeah.
talking is not uncomfortable.
Okay.
Number one. But I also need someone who's really hungry.
Hmm.
Who's hungry, who's sick and tired of being sick and tired. who just, they just want something better in life. They know, like, they want this level and they're here.
Yeah.
And they know that they should be here.
Okay.
But whatever they're doing now ain't getting them to here. And they recognize it, they know it, and they are willing to do something to do it. And they're willing to be uncomfortable to do it. You know what I'm saying? They're not comfortable they're not settling for less.
Yeah.
And I always say this, and I put this in my book too. And I think Malcolm X said this.
Okay.
He said, what you don't hate, you will tolerate. Right. And, a lot of times I think people are just tolerating mediocrity.
Yeah.
They're tolerating not making money. It's okay. It's acceptable. They're comfortable. They're tolerating being comfortable. So what I'm looking for is someone who doesn't want mediocre. I'm looking for someone who does not want to tolerate failure. Okay. Tolerate being mediocre, tolerate being, taking life easy. Yeah. I want someone who's hungry and to do something and willing to take action. Okay. That's the number one criteria. They gotta be, they gotta have a sense of they have to be credible too, in a way. Okay. A lot of times I meet people that they're willing to do all that, but they're not credible. Like, meaning that they lack credibility, they lack confidence or whatever, right? So the ideal candidate is someone who's confident, who's credible, who presents themselves well. Presentation is important. Yeah, you can't look like you put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, right? So I'm looking for someone who's credible, who has confidence, who's out there. Okay. Got good, self-esteem and all that. Okay.
So now they join your team. You meet this person. They come across your radar. By the way, if someone like that is listening, where can they find you, Perry? Perry at PerryWong.ca.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Thanks. Go to PerryWong.ca. You'll be able to find the guy.
Actually, no, it's Juggernaut Financial. Sorry.
All right. Juggernaut Financial. Don't be creeping Perry, okay?
JuggernautFinancial.com.
.ca. You sure?
Yes.
All right. So you meet this person, right? They come across your radar, boom, you got mail, Perry. Another person wants to explore this opportunity. And, they go through the process. They do the thing. They get all the credentials that are necessary, and they walk in here and they say, I don't have any customers, Perry. It's day one. I just got signed up. Yeah. Where do I go from here?
Yeah. So look, we go for a whole training program. So this takes a while, but we do offer paid training and mentorship and all that. So it's a whole new process, right? It's a whole process of finding who to talk to and all that, right?
Yeah.
But I need to find the person who's willing to go through that process.
Okay. So give me a nugget, Perry. Come on, man. We just want a little nugget, man. Give these kids something that they
What type of nugget? What do you mean?
Aspire to. How do I get my first customer, Perry?
Well, we all know people, right?
Okay.
The best, your customers is people who around you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if this product and service is something that everyone needs, and no one's selling it and no one has it, that's a key word, no one has it.
No one has it.
That's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Then everyone needs it, and everyone needs it, and they don't have it. So those are the people that have it. It's a mindset, right?
Okay.
I'm not selling people. I'm just having a conversation with them.
Okay.
And through that conversation, they see the need. They see the blind spot. I uncovered the blind spot, and they realize they need it. And then if you need it, get it. I always tell people, look, I'm not here to sell you anything. If you need it, get it. If you don't need it, don't get it. Don't get anything you don't need. And I always use the analogy of, if I come up to you and I give you a 1980 microwave, or let's say a VCR, right? You know what a VCR is, right? You don't need a VCR. So even if I give it to you for free, why take it, right? Yeah. I mean, you go home and the wife, here's a VCR, I got it for free. I didn't pay for it. Oh, that's good, but take it out in the trash. Throw it out.
Yeah.
But it's free.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's free. You don't need a VCR. Don't take it, right?
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, that's how I talk to people. I go, like, listen, I'm just here to have a conversation. We're here to talk.
Yeah.
And hey, if there's a need, there's a need. If there's not, great. I mean, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But what I sell, honestly, everyone needs it. There's not, I've been telling you, 99.9% of people out there need this product and they don't have it. Okay. I have zero, it's like 100% hit rate.
Yeah.
So it just matters just going out there and having a conversation.
Wow. Yeah. Impressive. So if you've got these agents now and they've been selling successfully and they're ready to recruit people to join their team, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah. Well, the first step is to get in there, know the product, and get going. But in terms of building a team on that would come naturally, organically.
Okay.
Because the first thing is you yourself, like I said, you got to excel yourself as a leader. You got to excel yourself as a person. You got to know the stuff first.
Yeah.
And so naturally and organically, that will lead to you becoming a leader and attracting the right people and getting people to come on board, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want a leader that leads from the front who knows how to do what they're doing, and you got to demonstrate that. And that's the key, right? I think that's one thing why, the juggernauts are so successful, is because I lead from the front.
Yeah.
I'm hitting it hard. I work 7 days a week. I don't take it easy. I
Mhm.
play hard. I work hard. That's my motto, right?
Yeah.
When I'm out, I mean, like I said, my kid's been on 10 cruises in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, that takes time. But when
Yeah.
I'm focused, I'm focused. I'm
Mhm.
working, I'm working. When I'm not working, I'm not working, right? And, to be a leader, you just got to walk the talk and do it. Lead from the front.
Boom.
So that will
That's
come
that.
organically.
So if you were going to, like, let's say all your money were gone, okay, no more finances, Perry Wong were to disappear, gone
Right.
tomorrow,
Yeah. Right.
okay, and now you've got to leave something to your kids.
Right.
Can't be tangible. All you could leave them is a set of principles.
Right.
What do you think you would share with them?
That's a good question. What print? Well, I think at the end of the day, like I said earlier, right? Leave people better than they found them. Be a good person. Live a moral life. Like help others.
Yeah.
Be generous.
Yeah.
And pay it forward. 100%. Help others.
Mhm.
That's so important, right? Because we're gifted. We're blessed that we're healthy. And we're blessed that we have what we have. And
Yeah.
to me, you just got to pay it forward. And I think that's important. Don't be selfish, help others. And when you live with that mentality, helping others, you get back 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Perry,
That's important.
we appreciate you paying it forward today. And thanks so much for taking the time to share your story. Perry, where can they find you online if they are interested, they want to follow along on your journey? We're going from 250 agents to 1,000 on Perry's team. So how do we follow on that journey?
All right. Well, at the end of the day, you can call me or my number, 416-999-7011.
This guy's a classic salesman, man. I
Emails,
love that.
Perry at perrywong.ca.
Beautiful.
You can check out my website. It's www.juggernautfinancial.ca.
Beautiful. And if you are intrigued, make sure you jump in the show notes. You'll be able to find all Perry's information there, and you'll be able to get the link to download his book. Perry, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story, your perspective, some of the things that you believe in, and I'm 100% sure it's gonna inspire the next generations. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm excited. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Perry Wong, the president of Juggernaut Financial Corporation and the author of How to Create $1 Million a Year Income. Thanks for watching 100 Ways to Make 100K.